Today on the driver's side, and it ran like hell. I guess I'll be going for a tack coat on the rest of it. It seems like you need to work on your flow coat and your distance to panel and speed and flow of your spray gun. Once you get that down, you should hardly have any runs, man. It's something that I think I don't think it's very hard to master. I mastered that early on in my painting career. I think because I was watching my dad paint for a long time before I even started painting. And as soon as I got into it, but like I said, by the time I was 17, I was painting for body shops. They were paying me just to go there, 150 bucks to just go shoot a car. Take me an hour and a half, and I'd make 150 bucks. At 17 wasn't a bad thing. Do that a couple times a week. It helped me get by. And the main thing is speed and flow. And guys, if you want to learn more about how to really lay on finishes without getting runs, sags, orange peel, you definitely want to check out radspaintformula.com. So I'm going to paste the link over here. It's an awesome free training, guys, like a 5-day, 6-day video. It's a 5-day video training series, absolutely free. You're going to learn how to spray professional automotive finishes without getting orange peel, dry paint, sags, runs, and tiger striping and all that stuff. A flow coat, but I still haven't mastered the X20 because I'm normally using my GTI Pro, but still trying to use the X20 for the whole flow coat to get my skill up on it. I mean, the spray guns are pretty much the same. I wouldn't say there's a big difference between spray guns. I like the atoms. I believe they atomize very, very nicely when painting. I think maybe you were just laying on too much paint if you were having issues with running. You were spraying too slow, or you were too close to the panel. So you just need to work on your speed and flow, and then your distance to panel. That's pretty much it. It definitely throws the clear out, so I need to pick up the pace. So Gareth, as long as you know that, hey, the Atom X20 maybe is laying it out a lot quicker and thicker. I mean, this gun has exceptional atomization, and it really puts the paint. The Atom X20, X27, 88, they really lay the clear on really nicely. I like it. And if you feel like you need to pick up the pace on it, then just pick up the pace, or you can kind of like, instead of 6 inches away, you might want to go 7 inches away, or instead of 5 inches away, you might want to be 6 inches away from your panel, your gun tip to the panel. And got a truck from upper body line up, is peeling and some sanded. Would it be hard to blend? If you're going to be doing a body line and blending and painting, it doesn't make sense to do that. You're better off to just do the whole panel. Okay. So if you're doing on a door and you're trying to work on an upper body line peeling, you're going to basically want to sand that out, feather it down toward the bottom, prime it, block it 400, and then just shoot the whole door. If you're going to be doing any blending, you're going to be blending into the adjacent panels, the quarter panel or the fender. But I would definitely redo that door instead of blending the door. If you have peeling issues like that, looks like an Iwata 400. What's a good PSI setting for it? Backyard builds, go to radspaintformula.com. Those are the ballpark areas of pressure settings, and everything that you need to know is in that training series right there. Check it out. Definitely check it out. Hey, Tony, I have some new panels with the black finish. Should I strip down to metal, rough up the finish, and spray? Okay, so that's an e-coat that you have there. It's a black primer e-coat finish that comes factory on a lot of brand new panels that you buy. Okay, it's a good finish. It's a good foundational finish that you have there as a coating. What I normally do is sand it down with 400. You could even go a little rougher if you want, 320. Okay, and then I like to put, you could actually paint on top of that. So if you're going to be painting a dark color, blacks, gunmetals, then you could literally sand that down, get it rough with 400 grit, block it out. You could put base coat and clear coat right on top of that. If you're going to be doing any other color, you can sand it, you can seal it, and then paint over it. Or if you want, you can always lay a primer on it, a gray primer, a 2K filler primer reduced, so it's not really a filler primer. It's more of like just a prime coat. But make sure you sand it down first. You're going to have to get it down to like at least a 320 grit, and then prime it, block it out, 400 grit, and then you're ready for paint, whatever you want to do. Hopefully that helps, Dennis. Let me know if that helps. I'm running 27 pounds, quarter inch on the fan, and a quarter on the fan with full fluid. I don't know what you mean by quarter in. Oh, quarter in on the fan with full fluid. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. With clear coat, you're going to be spraying at 27, 28 PSI trigger pulled. All right. So trigger pulled, you're going to have your digital or analog gauge hooked up here. I don't have one on here. And then you're going to make sure that it's reading 27 pounds trigger pulled for your clear coat. Base coats, I like to go 24, 25 pounds pretty much. This is the Atom Blue Moon, Atom X88 Blue Moon. Great for base coat, clear coats, and even, primers if you want to reduce them down. You can spray. This gun comes with a 1.3 and a 1.4 tip size. So in the box. So you got, the most popular, the most used tip sizes that come in the box with the Blue Moon and the Infinity. The Infinity, the only difference is the color combination. I have the Infinity actually. Let me show that guy. Let me show that to you guys. So here is the X88 Infinity. Just a color difference with these two guns. They're both Atom X88s. Okay. Showing off says, can different custom paint brands be used for a paint job? Tamco, yes, you can. You could mix and match paint brands, as long as you're mixing base coats and clear coats. Okay, like I wouldn't use a Tamco reducer. I mean, you could. It's basically the same stuff, realistically, but a Tamco reducer with a PPG base coat. I mean, normally when you're buying it as a kit anyway. If you're buying base coat from PPG, you're going to be getting the reducer. But hey, maybe sometimes you're going to be low on a reducer and you're going to have some Nason reducer or a House of Color reducer. It will work. Okay, it works across the board. Okay, normally what people do is have a different brand base coat. Maybe they'll do a PPG base coat, clear coat, PPG base coat, and then they'll have a higher end House of Color clear coat on top of it. No problems. You're not going to have any issues at all because they're all, urethane clear coats, polyurethane clear coats. You're not going to have an issue. So don't worry about it. Okay. You can use Tamco clears on DuPont base coat. You can use Tamco clears on a PPG base coat or on a Shopline PPG, whatever. It doesn't matter, and that's normal. Like I like to use PPG base coats mainly. Those are my go-to base coats that I use, Dextron, or I'll go with the cheaper Omni. And you could use any type of clear coat you want on top of it. So that's no problem. Hopefully that answers your question there. Having trouble with single stage acrylic urethane getting too much orange peel. Any tips? Yes, backyard builds. My tips are make sure your mixing ratios are on point. If you're getting orange peel, you may want to add a little additional reducer. Okay. I don't know what type of hardener you're using with that. But normally on a complete paint job, you want to be using a slow hardener, a slow activator, because you want your paint to flow out after you lay it down. All right. And the other thing is go to radspaintformula.com, guys. I made this training and I want your feedback. I've been getting amazing feedback, but I want your T. Corley says, is flow coating worth it? Does it make that much of a big difference? Yes and no. Sometimes people flow coat because they need it. You know, sometimes they got orange peel, they want to block it out, sand it out, get it flat again, and then flow coat it. Normally, if you got 2 coats of clear on it and it looks like glass, there's really no sense of a flow coat. If you're doing candy paint jobs, custom candy work, and that has some flake in it or pearl, and you're going to be putting this car in a show or something, and you really want it, then yeah, flow coat it, because it's going to give you more depth. Okay, putting an extra 2 coats of flow coat clear on it is going to give you more depth to that candy paint job, or over the pearls or flake that you did. It'll make it look deeper. That's the main idea for flow coat for custom jobs like that, or to fix some orange peel work on a complete paint job, or it could be some panels. So yeah. Is there a big difference between primer sealers and regular primer? Not a big difference. Not really a big difference. Okay, there are sealers, and we cover all of this in Learn Autobody VIP. There are primers that sometimes you just want to seal something. There are sealers that you just want to seal and then not have to worry about sanding before you put your base coat on. And that's why I like the Nason. Write this down, guys. The Nason 1K sealer. It's a great sealer to use before painting. When you're doing body work and you got your 2K filler primer, a 2K primer is a great foundation to paint directly over, single stage or base coat, clear coat. But sometimes during the wet sanding or the final dry sanding stage, you're gonna cut through to metal, or you're gonna cut through to some body filler. Any of you guys have that happen? It happens to me. And the idea is you never, to be proper, you never want to paint over. You never want to paint over body filler or metal. Although you could get away with it, and you could do it. I've done it. So the couple things that you could do is get a rattle can 1K primer and just kind of cover it quickly, and then do your base coat, clear coat on top of it. It's really not the best way, but that's a way to do it. You could mix up some 2K filler primer again, and then you can spray it, let that dry, wet sand it again, making sure that you don't cut through, and then paint it. Or you can cheat and use this 1K sealer by Nason. Okay, other brands have it, but I like the Nason brand. It's easy to use. You just mix it out of the can, strain it, put it in your cup, and you're ready to spray. And then you basically just hit those areas, and then you're done. You let that flash dry for 15 minutes, and then you can shoot your base coat right on top of that. Done. So that's the difference with a sealer. And some custom paint jobs, sometimes you're going to want to spend the extra money and the extra time and put a sealer on the whole complete car before you do your base coat. All right. Base coats lay on really nice over a sealer. Okay. I'm not saying that it doesn't lay on nice over a 2K primer that's sanded and prepped up and ready to be painted over. It's just a little different. If you want to go high end, and if you want to get the most perfect job or whatever, you got the budget, you got the extra hour because you're going to be spraying sealer now, then you do it. Best way to thin auto body filler, I don't know. I've never had to thin body filler. I'm either using body filler or glaze. Usually you don't thin it. That's it. I would say if you want to get a thin body filler, a creamy body filler, go with Evercoat Rage is a good creamy body filler that lays on really nice and creamy. I have to get a new and bigger compressor when I move house because the pressure does flutter when the compressor does kick on. Maybe, I'm not sure. I don't know what setup you have right now, Gareth. if you want to email me separately. But normally, if you have a 60-gallon tank with a 3.5 to 5 horsepower motor on that sucker, it means you're pumping enough CFM, anywhere from 14 to 18 CFM at, 40 pounds, more than enough. 40 psi, more than enough air pressure, because you're not spraying with 40 pounds of pressure, guys. You're spraying with 25 to 28, basically. So if you see CFM ratings, that say, hey, we're gonna promise you 15 CFM at 40 pounds, which is kind of good. It's a pretty high pressure compressor. That's great, because you don't even need that much. You're going to be using half that. Well, 25 basically, you know? Okay. Bobby Nelson, I spray painted my truck bed today and I used Nason base coat and it orange peeled because it finally down. I was scared to death. I'm not sure what you meant by that. Orange peeled? And it orange peeled, but it finally laid down. So, guys, normally when spraying base coat, sometimes it will lay on like it has an orange peely texture, but you let it dry and it flows out smooth. Okay, as long as you're mixing your base coats correctly, normally base coats are 1-to-1. So you got, 8 ounces of base coat, 8 ounces of reducer. Okay. Sometimes you're going to want to add a little capful or two of reducer just to thin it out just a little bit, so you make sure you flow it on really nicely. And guys, I cover that in the Rads paint page for depth, or should you just stay with base and clear? You can actually clear over single stage, no problem, anytime you want after the paint job. You could absolutely do it. It's actually good because it gives you more protection. It gives that paint, it makes it last longer, more durable. Single stage is bare. It's basically paint with clear coat in it. That's what single stage is. You got clear coat in it. And it lasts a while, but if you put clear coat on top of it, it'll last longer. Clear coat is a good sealer. I'm going to be painting a Pontiac Brazen Orange. Should I use orange tinted primer or stick with gray? Not sure what color the factory used. Painting on a 66 GTO. Man, I had a 66 GTO that I picked up when I was 17 for $3,500. I painted it tangerine orange from a Dodge Prowler, tangerine orange. I put silver mini flake in it, and I flipped it in 2 weeks for $8,500. I should have kept that car. But that's what I did when I was 17. I still have pictures of that thing. I would stick with a light gray primer. You don't have to worry about tinting it. No problem. Stick with a light gray primer, light gray to medium gray primer, and you will cover in 2 coats. I guarantee it. If you're doing what I've done my car, then definitely due to having decals within paint and I need to bury so I can't feel it. What are your thoughts on UV primer? Hey, my thoughts are great. A lot of clear coats already have UV in it. So if you want to use a UV primer, then why not use it? It can't hurt. Okay. Have you ever used Kovac sandpaper? It's expensive, but it's awesome. Cletus Bloom, that's all I use. Kovacs actually supplies me with sandpaper, and that's all I use. They got great sandpapers. If you look in my VIP videos over the past couple of years, it's all Kovacs. I met with some of the guys in Japan when I was there a couple of years ago. They actually came down and met me where I was staying in Japan. Pretty cool. And they gave me a big box of sandpaper. They mailed me some here a couple of months ago. Yeah, Kovacs is an excellent brand. And thank you. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, everybody on here. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you next week, man. Keep on pumping, guys. Peace. Rads is rad.